In this video, we'll talk about cross-stitch essentials in terms of equipment. Hi everyone, Marie here, and this is the Caterpillar Cross-Stitch channel. In today's video, I want to talk you through some essential cross-stitch equipment. In the beginning of my cross-stitching journey, I went through a lot of trial and error, buying things that were not necessary or not of very good quality. So I thought I'd create a video that I wish I saw at the very beginning of my stitching journey. So let me save you some time and money and show you my personal favorites, starting with the obvious: fabric, thread, needle and pattern you want to stitch. If you are an absolute beginner, I would recommend getting a kit. At Caterpillar Cross Stitch we have beautiful but easy projects like this How Does Your Garden Grow kit that are a very good place to start. With each kit, regardless who you buy it from, you should get a pattern, good sized fabric, all threads you need, sorted and clearly marked so you know which is which, and a needle sized appropriately to the count of fabric of your project. If you kit up yourself, you will need fabric. Either you have a stash when you buy fabrics without knowing which project are you going to use it for, or you just buy exactly the fabric that is required as and when you kit up a specific project. If you're thinking about starting a fabric stash, our video called How to Pick the Perfect Cross-Stitch Fabric can be a great place to start. It is linked here if you'd like to understand cross-stitching fabric a bit more. You might also want to have a stash of needles. My personal favorite brands are DMC and Bohin or Bohan, depending on your preferred pronunciation. When I go traveling, I always take these two with me. But John James and Mary Arden are also excellent needles. Different counts of fabric require different sized needles. If you're not familiar with them yet, you might want to watch our video called The Ultimate Guide to Measuring and Cutting Cross-Stitch Fabric, again linked up here. There is a section dedicated to needle sizes appropriate to fabric counts. You will want to have something to keep your threads organized too. I prefer to keep mine on floss drops, and you can learn how to make exactly these in our video called How to Make DIY Floss Drops, again linked here. Alternatively, you may want to have bobbins or a very simple floss card to help you keep organized with your project threads. There are also acrylic floss holders available on our website that I am inserting here. Good scissors are an absolute basic equipment. I take these two with me everywhere I go. The green scissors are Caterpillar Cross Stitch scissors available in our shop at caterpillarcrossstitch.com in various lovely colors. Sturdy and reasonably sharp at the tip, but not to the point of being dangerously sharp. You can comfortably touch it. You can get reasonably close to the fabric when cutting off tails and cut with precision. The second pair is embroidery scissors by Prim, available on Amazon, link in the description below. Made in Japan, these are lightweight, easy to handle, but extremely sharp at the tip. I never keep them out of my Notion pouch, even between uses, because these are truly very, very sharp. They allow extreme precision even with other threads like the very thin Invisalign for hand sewing. I strongly advise you to handle with care, especially around children and pets. To keep your scissors going for as long as possible, I would strongly advise to use them only for thread cutting. Definitely do not use them to cut paper or any other things other than thread. If you're stitching by hand and are a bit of a purist or minimalist, or you simply cannot take many things with you wherever you're going, this would literally be everything you need in order to successfully stitch a project. If you need to be minimalist on the go, I'd highly recommend our 2 hand stitching videos linked in the top right corner, called How to Stitch in Hand and Double Your Speed, and a companion Stitch With Me video called Sewing Method in Real Time. If you, however, prefer to stitch with hoop, you will need a good, reliable hoop. There are great many hoops, frames, Q-snaps, square hoops, flexi hoops and tension hoops, etc. on the market, and I will not be going into much detail in this video. Each have their own pros and cons and would take a full video to go through, so let us know in the comments if you'd be interested in a comprehensive guide into these. I have personally recently discovered this Morgan hoop, available on Amazon here in the UK. It's plastic, very sturdy, and it has a no-slip technology with a tongue and groove on the inside of the hoop that helps keep the fabric perfectly taut while you're stitching. I personally have plenty of hoops, but when you find the right one, you really only need 1 or 2, maybe one bigger sized one. The trick is to keep it on the project only while stitching and then take it off at the end of each day or a stitching session. This is to prevent hoop marks from forming on your fabric, and also if you only have 1 hoop and like to swap between whips, you will need to use the 1 hoop on your next project as well. I've already mentioned a Notion pouch. This is one of mine that I take traveling with me because it's tiny but just the right size to fit everything I need. You can see it's well used and well loved. It's one of ours, available in our shop, caterpillarcrossstitch.com. There are so many possibilities though. Usually you can buy a Notion pouch from bag makers, make one yourself, or use an everyday item like a small IKEA freezer bag or an old small makeup pouch to create a Notion pouch. I already mentioned that I always keep my sharp scissors in the pouch, always sharp tip first to prevent any unwanted injury if I grab inside the pouch. Then I put my needles in, and I also use it to store my thread clippings if I am somewhere where I can't throw them away, maybe in public transport. I would also usually keep my needle minder inside the pouch attached to one of the scissors. This butterfly is one of our own needle minders, and I can genuinely say that these are one of the best needle minders on the market, and I've tried quite a few. The reason I really love them is that they are very, very strong. It really is difficult to lose them or lose anything that is attached to them. And I love the various designs and that the enamel is really durable. So even after months of use, it still kind of looks like new. We've recently released a London double-decker bus needle minder as part of our new British Adventure Stitch Along. So if you love all things London, I would wholeheartedly recommend getting that one. Remember that when you sign up to our newsletter, linked in the description below, you will get a 10% discount on your first order and also 8 free patterns delivered instantly into your inbox. You'll also be always notified of any sales or new releases via our newsletter. The last thing I keep in my pouch is Muji retractable highlighter. Also available on Amazon in the UK. I find this to be an essential equipment for anyone who does the good old school paper patterns like me. The retractable highlighter allows me to only use one hand, mark the stitched area, and safely close again away from my fabric. This is keeping my fabric very safe from any unwanted stains. Once you have all this, you might want to have a project bag to keep the project and these items in. To keep it low cost, you can again just take a large IKEA freezer bag or buy a generic project pouch on Amazon. Alternatively, you can get a double pocket project bag from our shop that has vinyl front and allows you to see what project is in. Or if you don't have an upper budget limit, you can also get a handmade project bag from the many wonderful project bag makers on Etsy. Once you have these, you are very well equipped in terms of essentials to stitch any project you'd need. There are just two other items I would like to mention here. I have recently bought this light with magnifying glass. It is rechargeable or you can have it on while plugged in. It is an unknown brand from Amazon, but I've been really quite happy with it, so I'll just link it down below. I don't need it very often, so I didn't need to buy a high-end magnifying light. If that is something, however, that you would need on a very regular basis, I'd recommend checking companies like Daylight or Otlight that specialize in craft lamps, and although more expensive, they provide a much higher quality of product. Last but not least, if you do stitch regularly, you might want to consider getting a stand. There are so many different stands on the market that the scope of this video cannot include them all. I would just like to mention two of them. First, this is a very simple stand, easy to undo, easy to fold and transport, and handy for double-handed stitching because you can position it very easily, and the mechanics are, extremely easy to handle. I can't see this working for a scroll frame or any very large project just because of the dimensions limitation that you've got on here, but it is a very easy on-the-go stand to take with wherever you go if you enjoy sitting and stitching by the table. The second stand worth mentioning is the Lowery stand. Tried and tested by thousands of stitchers, including myself. It's a great stand to use at home that frees up both of your hands and allows you to find a comfortable stitching position while keeping your project nice and steady. It is suitable for all sorts of hoops and frames, and it is capable of holding large projects. So it's a great investment if you have approximately £100 to invest in a stand. And this is it. These are my top cross-stitching essentials that I would choose to take with me anywhere I went. Of course, there are many wonderful gadgets out there that are not mentioned in this video. This overview is meant to bring an overview of absolute basic must-haves that, in my humble opinion, should be in everyone's stash to make their stitchy life a bit easier. I hope this minimalist accessories list helped you. If it did, please consider giving this video a like to let us know that we should be making more of these. And hit the subscribe button and ring the bell to stay with us and be notified of any new tutorials we weekly release. Remember to follow us on Instagram and Facebook for more stitchy tips and inspiration, and join 16,000 strong Facebook group for a chance to share and discuss your stitchy equipment and progress with people who love stitching as much as you do. Thank you so much for watching and supporting our channel. Have a great week, Happy New Year, and see you next Monday.